Hello, I'm Sientir, and welcome to VOD of Consciousness. And last time we were making our way to Mineral Springs, and this time we're going to continue making our way towards Mineral Springs, because I want to go capture an elite skill in Mineral Springs. So, we have a bunch of these guys to battle. So that's kind of what my focus is on. Oh. Must have been burning. Oh, that guy's just down. Okay, cool. That works for me. Not a whole lot to say about these guys. They're siege ice golems, which I think is a rather interesting concept. I guess somehow the stone summit are supposed to have been able to animate them or something. I'm not really sure what's up. I don't know why I just epidemicked that guy. There's no one around for it to spread to, but anyway. Mesmers do really interesting stuff. I actually really like... Oh yeah, you can see the Mineral Springs portals right over there. So we were pretty close, but we had a couple groups of enemies to get through, and we were running a bit long in the tooth, as it were, last time, so I didn't want to keep going. There, hopefully I've spread some of that daze around a bit. Okay. So, Mineral Springs over here. Like I was saying last time, each zone has its own atmosphere, as it were. So this is what this zone looks like. Whatever this one's called. I don't know. I just know it is the zone between... the intermediary zone between Granite Citadel and Mineral Springs. But Mineral Springs, I think you'll see as we get here, is very different. So it's a lot brighter, a lot sunnier, much clearer, bluer skies. Obviously, their skyboxes could use some updating, but, you know, this whole game's graphics could, but it's not going to. So it's a lot brighter, a lot whiter here, and I really enjoy this visual aesthetic. You'll also notice that we have a new set of enemies. We have these Akara Braves, which are a new set of dudes to fight. So that's kind of cool. They're mostly warriors, rangers, and necromancers, interestingly enough. So it's not necessarily a terribly different group of enemies, although they do tend to come with a slightly different skill composition. So there is that. Otherwise, it's just, you know, a matter of fighting enemies. So, nothing new from that standpoint. Why did everybody get 60 health? Excuse me. There's something that I have that must give everybody 60 health. Not that. That's something Milani's doing. 35. See, it's one of those things where it's like, it's not actually important, but I'm really curious what I have going on that's doing that. Oh, it's there's nothing to fear. That makes sense. Nothing to fear ends and gives everybody 60 health. Okay, so what I need to do right now, actually, is I'm hunting down a specific enemy. Now, this is one of the things in Prophecies, is they kind of randomly position where these enemies show up. So I'm hunting down Ineptitude, and it is on Sharp Feather. And there's a bunch of locations where he could potentially show up. So, I need to figure out where he actually is. So we just need to make a loop. So actually, let's... I've brought up a map that I can reference. So let's go ahead and go this direction to start with. It looks like this is the way that I can go that has the closest possible location that he'll be at. But the bosses here can be... in Prophecies... excuse me. The bosses are generally randomized in their location. The result of this being that you kind of have to check a bunch of different spots for them. Whereas in future games, they realized that was maybe inconvenient, so they stopped doing that. There's also a bunch of trees in my way, which is, you know, what it is, I guess. Not sure what I think about running fragility, but eh. There's a bunch of cool elite skills in illusion magic, and not as many cool non-elite skills for me to use, so. It is as it is, I suppose. So this... No, not this group, but there should be a group like right there. That will be the first sort of possible location. So I want to cast from there. That should get like all of them fragility'd up. So you can already see the procs of fragility going off. Just the little points of 15 damage. Just triggering all over the place, which it's useful additional DPS, is what it is. Let's see. That's weird. Okay. I used to have a mouse that could tilt side to side when I played this game. Okay, so that's Mid-Spring Claw, which I don't know what Mid-Spring Claw has, but it is not the boss I'm looking for, which is like a wit something. So there's no reason to go over there and fight a random boss. Okay, it's the monk, which is what my guess would be. Excuse me. So the next one's going to be a little ways away, just kind of around this area. I love how beautiful it is, though. I do wish this game would be updated to have a mode that meant it didn't have to have pop-in, but oh well. I think modern computers can handle this game quite easily without pop-in, but that's not what we've got. Wow, talk about being overreactionary. This is the problem, actually, with the AI, is it does tend to be a little overreactionary. Oh, I have pacifism on me. That's annoying. Okay, yeah, it's the juniper. They do that. Okay. I know I have plenty of things I could talk about. But honestly, sometimes it's just nice to take a little bit of a break from worrying about that. And just focus on the game. Look at the Aspen. I love Aspen, actually. One of the things that's really cool about the Colorado area and whatnot is all the aspen trees. And the white... Or is it birch? I don't know. They're very similar, I think. But the white and black bark and... I love how bright this zone is. It makes a very strong contrast with other Guild Wars 1 snowy areas, which generally run dark and kind of, I guess, miserable, to be blunt. But this area is not like that. It's very bright. It's very sort of cheery. And the enemies are different. It creates a very nice contrast. Okay, that thing should not be getting attacked right now. And I appreciate that contrast. It's something that I like having in games where there's areas that take a contrast to the tone that otherwise is pervasive in the game. Okay, so that's the Elementalist, but we're going to want to go up that way to get to the next area, so we'll just take out that group. I don't expect a whole lot from the Elementalist. quite frankly. Just because these are prophecies bosses. But I like it when games have areas that are different than what the area typically, or than what the game typically does. So there's a good example in Dark Souls 3 of some areas that are much brighter. Or like how Anor Londo in Dark Souls 1 creates a contrast with with the rest of the game being bright and gold and quite beautiful in a different sort of more traditional sense. And those sorts of contrasts, I think, are very interesting. They're very important, and you can do a lot with them in a game when you intentionally create visual contrast from one area to another. So we're going to just be fighting a bunch of Avocari here. There's not a whole lot else that's going to be going on in that regard. Just so that way people know what's happening. Just making our way to the next possible location where the boss could be. So that's actually interesting. Something that I saw there. Actually, that's worth talking about. So that was a monk enemy that we were just battling, and it has a particular skill. It has a skill called Healing Touch, which is a reasonably decent monk skill. It has a nice base healing, but then has a double divine favor bonus to make it very good for monks and not very good off of monks, because it has a touch range. So you can heal yourself with it, or you can heal an ally with it. And the issue is that touch range. Oh, these guys are going to be so annoying. Means that when you use it on someone, you have to be able to be close enough to, quote, touch them, unquote, which is basically melee range, melee combat range, which is just like an axe or sword or something. Melee just, technically it means fight. But in video game parlance, it means, and most of the gamers watching this probably know this, but whatever. It means within range for a close combat weapon, within close combat range, basically. And so there was a monk henchman called Alicia, I mean there is still, who has that skill, and the AI would use it on the warriors and characters in the front line. And so that AI, she got a reputation for being kind of suicidal, because she would run into the front line to use this healing skill. And, oh, there's Wit Sharpfeather, so that's exactly who I'm looking for. Is this armor infused? All of it infused. Like it. Infusion is a specific plot thing. Oh, this area gets a lot darker, you'll notice, so that's interesting. But this is the boss that I want to take down, and I have goozled myself, but okay. Whatever. It's actually also using the fragility stuff, so works well with what it's trying to do, works well with what I'm trying to do. We'll get fragility, I guess. Could go down before too much longer. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we've gotten the skill that we want, Ineptitude right here. So it lasts for a brief period of time, and when that foe or any adjacent foe attacks, they take a bunch of damage and are blinded, which makes it hard for them to hit. So that's a pretty strong skill. I'm not... I don't think I'm really going to go through the rest of this zone. There is an argument for... Yeah, except my inventory is full. So I'm going to go ahead and... let's see. We got that, what we wanted there. So let's see. Yeah, okay, we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to clean out my inventory a little bit. I just have a bunch of these tunics and vests and stuff that I'm going to salvage for parts. There is an item that got added here as a thing, but I'm probably not going to bother with it. You can actually see a mission zone over here. That's from the Iron Mines of Molodune mission over there. I believe, but we're not really. We got what we came here to do. So there is, however, some really cool stuff up this way that I'm thinking I might go take a gander at. I do love mountainous areas, more so being in them. But yeah, one of the things that you'll see that's different about a lot of Mineral Springs compared to the rest of the Shiver Peaks, a lot of the Shiver Peaks are full of these sorts of pine tree-like, evergreen-esque stuff, and it's got a lot of lighting like what we had back there. Obviously, right here it's very bright, very white. But the birch aesthetic, or the aspen or whatever, these trees right here are unique to the Mineral Springs area, as I recall. Or at least this is certainly the area where they're most plentiful. Whereas most of the Shiver Peaks has trees like these evergreen-like fellows, and tends to have a much darker visual aesthetic. The result of this is that the oh, I'm blinded, of course. But the result of that is that this zone is very different, and I like zones that have very different feels. As mentioning in Dark Souls 3, there's a spot that leads to the tree boss. That I think most people know who are familiar with the game know what I'm talking about when I say that. I forget its exact name off the top of my head. The cursed rotted spirit tree, whatever. But that area has a very different aesthetic compared to the rest of the game. And I like those sorts of spots. I like zones that have a different aesthetic, that have a very different visual style. This is the spot I was talking about, by the way. This is an ice cave. There's some ice imps that should be around here. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing them. But they have a chance to drop an icy dragon sword, which is because they're all inside like crazy. Oh my goodness. This is... What on earth has happened? That's unusual. But they have a chance to drop an icy dragon sword, which is kind of a cool, unique thing. So anyway, I'm going to clear out some of these guys, and see what happens. Because why not? Definitely want to use. There's nothing to fear around here, though. These guys are kind of dangerous because they have something. Yeah, there's a statue of, let's see here. They have something called Maelstrom, which interrupts spells. There's also this weird dish back here. I don't know what's up with it. Oh, yep. I should not try to cast Fragility in Maelstrom. Maelstrom is an area of effect spell that interrupts spells. So you generally want to avoid standing in it. For that reason. That is an unreasonably large quantity. Oh yeah. Just see that gigantic fragility proc all over everything. Oh man, that's some beautiful damage going on there. But this is an absolutely ludicrous quantity of imps. I think the spawns got messed up, because they should have all been... they should have all been sort of inside. So we're not clearing this cave in this episode. Oh my goodness, look at that. I kind of want to come back here and try to clear out more of them just because this is so weird though. But that won't be this episode because this episode's nearly 20 minutes long. But I want to show you the cool thing over there. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. So until next time, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.